Good day everyone. We are Group 6 and will be presenting our topic on gene gun and alternative techniques under the topic of biotechnology techniques. To start, gene transfer is the process of transferring or incorporating genetic material from one organism to another, or even between cells of the same organism. This process is essential because it contributes to genetic diversity, reproduction, and adaptation. It plays a key role in evolution and biotechnology, allowing scientists to modify and improve traits in organisms. So, before the invention of the gene gun, researchers faced a major bottleneck in genetic engineering, especially before the 1800s. At that time, the main method used was the use of Agrobacterium tumefaciens, which worked well for plants like tobacco and tomato. However, it didn't work for cereal crops such as the corn, wheat, or rice. The problem was the tough plant cell wall, which acted as a barrier to DNA delivery. And because of this, there was an urgent need for a universal method that could bypass this obstacle and transform any type of cell. So, the gene gun was developed by John C. Stanford, an American geneticist and professor at Cornell University from 1980 to 1998. He worked with Edward Wolff, who coined the term biolistic, and Nelson Allen, the mechanist who helped build the first prototype. Together, they collaborated at Cornell University to create what became known as the Biolistic Particle Delivery System, or the gene gun. So, the very first working prototype was actually made from a modified Crossman air pistol, and it was used to shoot dense tungsten particles into onion cells. So, they choose onions because the cells are large, clear, and colorless. So, it makes easy for them to observe under a microscope. And this experiment proved that DNA could indeed enter and function within the plant cells using the new method. So later on, more advanced versions use as a caliber nail gun cartridge to propel DNA-coated particles. One of the key contributors to proving the gene gun's effectiveness was Theodore Glenn, a graduate student at Cornell University. He conducted crucial experiments and became the first author of a landmark paper published in Nature in 1987 titled High Velocity Microprojectiles for Delivering Nucleic Acids into Living Cells. This publication officially demonstrated that the gene gun could successfully deliver foreign DNA and make it express inside cells. Here, we can see the development of the gene gun to three prototypes. The first prototype was a simple air pistol version that proved the concept but lacked precision. The second one, they used a gunpowder charge and vacuum chamber, which led to the first successful DNA transformation in 1987. And lastly, the third prototype included design improvements like a surge tank, making it more reliable and ready for commercialization. Why successive prototypes were needed? Each prototype had limitations that required improvement. So the first prototype had uncontrolled velocity, causing inconsistent delivery and tissue damage. The second one used a gunpowder charge for better acceleration. However, it faced issues like debris contamination. And lastly, the third prototype refined these problems by adding a surge tank and improved airflow, resulting in a safer and more consistent tool for gene transfer. After the final design was created, the Cornell University patented the invention and licensed it to Bio-Rad Laboratories. They released commercial versions such as the PDS 1000 for lab use and the Helios Gene for applications. So the gene gun became a global tool that enables the genetic engineering of major crops like corn, wheat, and rice through advancing research in DNA vaccination and organelle biology. Some key advantages of the gene gun includes its ability on a wide range of species from plants and fungi to animals. And it doesn't require bacterial or viral vectors and can target specific tissues such as embryos or epidermal cells. And lastly, it also produces rapid gene expression that can be observed within just hours or days. However, the gene gun also has its limitations, as I have said earlier. First is that the DNA may integrate randomly into the genome, causing unstable expression. Um, Also, there's a risk of physical damage to the cells due to the impact, and transformation efficiency is sometimes lower than with agrobacterium based methods. And additionally, the gold particles and specialized equipments are quite expensive. Now, let's proceed to applications of the gene gun. The gene gun has many important applications. First, it's used for gene delivery, introducing new genes into organisms. Second, for DNA vaccination, as seen in malaria studies. And also, it can be used in gene therapy research, especially in small animals like mice. And lastly, it's also applied in agriculture and aquaculture. For example, creating a faster growing fish species or a vitamin A enriched crops like the golden rice.
Well, in gene gun mechanism, there are three different types of bioelastic equipment. The first is the PDS 1000 HE. This is a helium-driven bioelastic device used to deliver DNA-coated microscopic particles into the target cells. The second is the Helios gene gun, a handheld version of the PDS, so it is a much smaller and portable one. The third is the particle inflow gun, a simpler, low-cost bioelastic device designed mainly for plant genetic transformation. Basic steps of using the gene gun. First is to prepare the carrier. In bioelastic method, gold or tungsten is used as a tiny particles to act as carrier for the DNA. The DNA is attached to the surface of these particles. These particles are so small that they can pass through the cell wall when shoot. Step 2. Load the particles into the macrocarriers. So the DNA-coated particles are placed into the small sheet or disc called a macrocarrier. So to simply put, this macrocarrier is like a casing of a bullet. So it helps launch the particles but doesn't hit the target itself. Step 3 is to prepare the target cells. So the target tissue or cells like plant leaves, callus, or embryos are placed inside the chamber. So this area is usually under vacuum to remove air resistance, with allowing the particles to travel efficiently. Step 4 is to decide on your parameters and set the gene gun accordingly. So, of course, you need to control the case settings such as distance from target or the pressure that used to propel the particles, the pulse duration, or firing strength. So, the right balance of these factors ensures that the particles go deep enough to deliver the DNA without damaging the cells. In these slides, in this slide, let me take you inside the gene gun. So how it delivers the DNA to the target cells. So after all the materials are in place and set, the helium enters the acceleration tube. So it is held by the rupture disc until it reached the limit and burst. So this causes a helium shock wave and hit the macrocarrier launch assembly and drive the macrocarriers to launch the DNA-coated particles. So a stopping screen beneath the macrocarriers stop the macrocarriers but allows the tiny DNA-coated particles to keep flying towards the target cell. So in this slide, where the illustration of the gene transfer using the gene gun method in plant cell. So when a tiny when the tiny DNA coated particles enter the target cell, inside the nucleus, there are gene insertion events. So this event is how the same gene can behave differently depending on where it is inserted into the chromosome. Aside from gene gun, there are many techniques to transfer genes. So it is divided into three categories, which is the physical methods, the chemical methods, and biological methods. So gene gun is an example of physical method. And let us discuss first the biological method. There are two examples of biological method. First is the agrobacterium-mediated transformation. The second is the transduction or the use of viral vector. The first example of biological method is agrobacterium-mediated transformation. So this method uses a natural soil bacterium called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. So in genetic engineering, scientists remove the tumor-causing genes and replace them with the desired genes. So the modified agrobacterium is then mixed with plant tissues, allowing the new genes to be transferred into the plant's DNA. So the most common example is the creation of transgenic dicot plants like BT corn. The second method is the transduction or the delivery using viral vectors. So this method uses modified viruses, so it means that the disease-causing genes are removed, and scientists insert the desired genes into the virus genome, so turning it into a gene delivery vehicle or a vector. So when this modified virus infects the target cells, so it inserts the new genes into the host cell's DNA. This is often used in gene therapy to correct defective genes in human cells.
There are five physical methods. One is the electroporation, microinjection, sonoporation, laser-mediated gene transfer, and silicon carbide-mediated transformation. First is the electroporation. It induces pore formation in the cell membrane using high-voltage, short-duration electric pulses, and these target cells are mixed with the foreign DNA or RNA and subjected to a short high-voltage electrical pulse. Now, this pulse temporarily stabilizes the cell membrane, creating transit pores through the DNA or RNA that enters the cell. Now, for example, is the production of transgenic corn or maize. Second is the microinjection. This used to inject cells, nucleic acid, gene constructs, recombinant DNA, morpholino oligonucleotides into fish, cells, embryos, and larvae. Now, according to Zhang 2022, that these cells are immobilized under a powerful microscope using the Holding pipette. Now, a fine glass micropuppet needle is used to physically penetrate the cell membrane and or nuclear envelope. An example to this is the generation of transgenic mice. Sonoporation is the process of transit pore formation in the cell membrane triggered by ultrasound. Now, this uses high frequency ultrasound waves, often, often in combination with microbubbles, to create transient pores in the cell membrane. Next is the laser mediated gene transfer. Now, this technique uses a focused laser beam to temporarily create a micropore in the cell membrane. Now, this allows the genetic material to enter. Now, its precise energy burst causes to localized transient disruption, disruption like a small hole in the membrane. Now, according to Henneman 2022, that the DNA in the RNA or the RNA present in the surrounding medium diffuses or even or or driven into the cell through the core. The last is the silicon carbide mediated transformation. This simple or non-specialized physical method it uses silicon carbide fibers to mechanically um, perforate the plant walls and the membrane. Now, according to Munir et al. 2023, that plant cells or typically suspension cultures are mixed with the plasmid DNA and needle-shaped silicon carbide fibers and vigorously mix or vertex. Now, the collision of the cells with the fibers creates a small hole, allowing the DNA to enter the cell. Now, example to that is the tobacco. Now, it has been used to transform tobacco cells, introducing the GUS reporter gene. Now, this GUS reporter gene, which turns the cell into blue when a specific substrate is added. There are three methods in alternative techniques. We have calcium phosphate precipitation, liposome-mediated transfer, and polyethylene glycol or PEG. First technique is the calcium phosphate precipitation. This classic and simple chemical method for introducing DNA into cultured cells by forming a co-precipitate with calcium phosphate. Now this process uses a DNA that is mixed with the buffered calcium chloride solution, which is then added slowly to the phosphate buffer. This mixture forms a fine precipitate of calcium phosphate and DNA. Now these cells in culture take up this precipitation or precipitate through endocytosis, meaning this endocytosis is a engulfing or phagocytosis, allowing the DNA to enter the cytoplasm. An example to that is it is used for transient and stable transfection of various mammalian cell lines in basic molecular biology or biology research or to study the gene function and protein expression. The next method is the liposome mediated transfer. Now, according to Lou Allegre and Hankins in 2022, that this method used artificial lipids vesicles or liposome to encapsulate and deliver genetic material into cells. Now, according to Podolsky and Devara in 2022, that this process use the DNA or foreign DNA or RNA is mixed with cationic or positive charge lipids. Now, these positively charged lipids spontaneously complex with the negatively charged nucleic acid, forming a complex called a lipoplex. So this lipoplex then fuses with the cell's negatively charged plasma membrane, releasing the genetic material into the cell's cytoplasm. Now, example to that is it is used in development of non-viral gene therapy vectors and commonly used for in vitro or in culture transfection of difficult to transfect the eukaryotic cell. The third method is the polyethylene glycol or PEG or PEG. This polymer used to induce DNA uptake, particularly into plant protoplast by increasing the permeability of the plasma membrane. It is said by Vu et al. 2022. Now, according to Lu et al. 2023, that this plant protoplast or the cells that without cell walls are incubated with the of DNA in the presence of high concentration of PEG or the polyethylene glycol. Now, this polyethylene glycol causes temporary membrane permeabilization and promotes the association of the DNA with the cell membrane, facilitating its uptake. Example to this is it is used for transformation of plant protoplast. Example is the tobacco and potato. And also it is used to induce the fusion of cells, which is the protoplast fusion. In our conclusion, we conclude that the gene gun or the biolistic method has proven its effective tool for gene or the direct gene transfer, especially in plant cells with tough cell walls. Its ability is to deliver DNA coated microscopic particles into targeted tissues that has been um, advanced genetic engineered and crop improvement. However, despite its advantages, it has also limitations such as high cost, possible tissue damage, and variable transformation efficiency. Now, because of these challenges, um, alternative techniques such as agrobacterium mediated transformation, electroporation, and etc. are also being developed and utilized. Now, together, these methods provide researchers with multiple options to achieve efficient and effective genetic modification. This contributes greatly to modern biotechnology and cultural innovation. Thank you.